In 1935, Giuseppe Panerai produced multiple prototypes for the Italian military using Rolex movements. Customized by himself, they were the subject of testing for secret underwater Italian missions. The result was the birth of a legend, the Radiomir. In the modern day, it is the subject of thousands of different recreations and homages. But how good is Milifortic's? Hi guys, my name is Jason and I am your watch guy today. A few years ago, my main concentration on this channel was Homage pieces. Now, as this channel has developed and this audience, I have moved my concentration onto other pieces in the market. However, I've always had a soft spot for budget recreations of some of the most historical pieces we have ever seen. Today I am introducing you to a new brand for this channel, Milifortic. This is their homage to the famous Panerai Radiomir. It is linked in the description, but is it worth your hard-earned cash? Let's have a look. When Milifortic contacted me about their ST3600 backed homage, I thought it would be the perfect opportunity for me to review a homage I have never reviewed before. Panerai have an insane following, and rightfully so. They are pretty much the most famous and historic watchmaker to ever come out of Italy, and their links to the Italian military only heightens their brilliance. Now, this isn't a Panerai, and I doubt you'd expect anywhere near the same quality for $140. But the question we face today is if this watch is worth your hard-earned cash. The casing is that classic, almost squared cushion style. The lugs are screwed in to give that fixed aesthetic. Overall, it's a pretty simple example of one of the most historical and recognizable styles. The crown has a good level of grip to it and is screwed down into that case. It's not the first thing that I'd match up with a hand-wound movement, but it definitely helps with the 100-meter water resistance. The crystal sits on top of that casing, definitely adding a little bit of a vintage style, but it is an up-to-date material being sapphire and it does have AR coating on it. Let's have a look at the dimensions. It is 44 millimeters in diameter, 13.3 millimeters thick, 49.5 millimeters lug to lug, and this band is a 24 millimeter option. This display caseback that is fitted to the Milifortic allows us to see the hand-wound ST3600 movement. Now, let me be clear. This isn't an expensive movement, and it's definitely not a hard one to acquire. In fact, it was one of the first movements that I bought in order to learn a little bit of watchmaking. That being said, this Chinese movement definitely looks the part. It's pretty to look at. That's especially the case for consumers that are just getting into this hobby. A hand-wound movement and what that brings is definitely something nice to see. The caseback in essence is very simple, no etching, no specifications. It is a screw down caseback, which may confuse you as you look at these images because you can see 4 screw points. Those 4 screw points are actually what hold in the lugs to this piece, meaning that you can change the band in and out, but you still get that fixed lug aesthetic. The dial fronting this piece is definitely the main attraction. It is a sandwich dial, and if you are not familiar with that term, let me fill you in. A sandwich dial consists of 2 dial plates. The top plate being what you see, the color, if you will, and the print. The lower plate is used as a plate of lume. Now, this often means that you get a really exciting and really brilliant lume shot. As well as that, the shadows and the 3D image that this creates definitely adds a lot to the looks of the watch. This is something that Panerai did and still do to this day, and it is probably one of my favorite aspects to their watchmaking. The 12, 3 and 6 cutouts are definitely my favorite aspects to this dial. They are almost in a comic font. The flat matte black dial definitely does what it should do. It almost gives the vintage look that you will be looking for in this type of homage. I love that the dial has 2 different faces to it, and I don't mean the 2 plates. I mean that it can almost be seen as a little bit of a playful design with those rounded effects, but it is also still quite rugged and militaristic. At the 9 o'clock, we have a second sub-dial. That mimics the overall dial in a really nice way. It also gives you that vintage military look. The handset has a blue tone to it. If you look onto their website in the specifications, they claim that is through the blue heat process. Now, personally, I can't confirm that, but to my eyes, it definitely doesn't look to be painted. The main handset is a sword style, with that subdial having a more rounded leaf aesthetic to it. The Milifortic logo is printed to the 12 o'clock. Now, I know that one of the main attractions to this piece is definitely going to be the loom shot, so let me get the lights out and let's have a look. As I said in the build up to this loom shot and the beginning of the video, the loom on this piece is definitely the thing that will attract a lot of buyers. That sandwich dial is something that I've always been a fan of, whether it be in a Panerai or in a Homage piece. I think that sandwich dial's loom shot is one of the best in the market. This one is really well loomed. It has some really nice features. I love the fact that they've even loomed the subdial and given it the same cutaways as the rest of the dial. That isn't something that always gets given on Homage pieces, so it's really good to see this here from Milifortic. Personally, I can't not give this an 8. If they wanted to get to the 10 point, I'd like to see a little bit more in terms of the features to the loom shot, but a solid 8 is definitely something for them to be proud of, especially at the $140 mark. The band on this piece may be simple, but it definitely has all of the points that you would expect from this type of Homage. Edged with a fantastic vintage stitching, topped with that fantastic Panerai style buckle that we all know so well. I mean, what else would you expect? I found it to be really comfortable on wrist, even if it does have that 49.5mm lug to lug. Let's get it on wrist so you can have a look at it for yourself. This is the Milifortic on wrist. As you can see, due to me being cursed with baby wrists, it is definitely a bigger watch. It definitely suits people with bigger wrist sizes. Now, I am on the lower end with a 6¼ inch wrist. Once you get towards that 6½, I think that this would be a really nice fit. The band, really well done. I really love the fixed lug aesthetic. As the Homage market goes, this is definitely one of the better ones that I've seen, especially considering the lower quality Homages that you do often see of Panerai. Now, as you can see, this watch definitely looks the part, right? But there are definitely some aspects that I would love to see improved, especially when they are putting these out at around $140. We know what we can buy on the AliExpress market. This is pretty much in the same type of playing field, and that's because this is a Chinese brand playing in the Homage world. They have to live up to those same expectations. So let's start with one of my classic moans for these pieces. The crown, the buckle on the band, and as well as that, the case back has no signature to them. Now that really does give me the feeling of a part bin number. I understand that they're trying to achieve a classic Homage here, but we are in the 21st century. We are in 2024. We've come to expect a certain level from these Homages. I don't feel like it hits that level. Now, for the pricing, it is well built, and the quality control isn't that of a really cheap £30 AliExpress piece. It is fully stainless steel. They are doing a lot of things right. That being said, there is a lot of options on the market. And as I mentioned, especially with them playing against that AliExpress market, it isn't one that I would be jumping at as soon as I saw it. Personally, I think it's something that you buy because you really buy into that Homage style, and they've hit a lot of marks that a lot of Panerai fans would have. Those being the sandwich dial, the really pretty display case back, and a hand wound movement is something that you don't see often on the market anymore, but a lot of people do still appreciate. So in conclusion, I don't think it's a bad buy. It is linked in the description. If you like it, go and spend your money on it. But $140, there is a lot of options out there. So consider them. Thanks for watching today, guys. I would love to know what you think of Milifortic. Now, it's the first time that I've experienced this brand. They do have plenty of other options on their website, and they are definitely playing in that vintage military type of zone that I know a lot of us do like. And if you like this watch or you want to have a look at their other offerings, they are linked in the description. Thank you to Milifortic for sending this in for me to review. I will see you in the next one.